Hey guys, this is Bob Tripathi and welcome. I thought I would do a video today and talk about a topic that everybody is talking about it or it's on everyone's mind, especially in the marketing, sales, RevOps, startup world. And that topic today is that I'm going to talk about is what is GTM engineering. GTM is go to market. And what is go to market engineering? And suddenly, what you might find yourself asking is why is suddenly everyone talking about it? And this has happened a lot over the last year or so, where I found myself using this term GTM engineering more and more. And even when people are asking me about it, and like a lot of newer terms in our industry, I think there is always a danger that we may end up making it sound more complicated than what it actually is. And because if you have worked in marketing or sales or RevOps or growth or even product for any length of time, you've probably already done pieces of GTM engineering without you knowing it. And we just didn't necessarily call it that way. And a lot of people think that this is a new invented term by Clay and whatnot. But what has changed actually is the environment around us. If you recall, as we all know, for most of the last 20 plus years, we built go to market organizations around functions. Marketing generated demand, sales worked the opportunities that marketing created or they self did. RevOps built the systems and data. Customer success managed the customers. Product build the product. Engineering build the tech. And then inside each one of those functions, what we did is we ended up creating more tools, especially in the SaaS world that we saw after 2000. CRM, marketing automation, intent data, analytics, customer success platforms, MSPs, data warehouses, enrichment tools. You go keep going on and on. And what has happened is we became really good at building this SaaS tech stacks. But what I'm not sure is we became equally good is building systems. And I think that's an important distinction. Why is that? Is that takes us into what is GTM engineering. So the simplest way I think about GTM engineering is essentially you're designing how your go-to-market organization actually works as a connected system. Not just what tools everyone is using. That is in the SaaS world. And now in the AI world, it's not just what marketing or sales or what sales does, but essentially in the AI world, how signals, how data, how people, how workflows, and increasingly AI connect across the organization so something actually happens and without losing any footprint. So let's take a very small example. Somebody from a target company or account visits your pricing page, for example. Okay, that's interesting, you might say. But by itself, it doesn't tell us much. So what? Somebody visited a pricing page. All right. So what if the same company attended a webinar of yours, say a few weeks back? What if there's already an opportunity sitting on your CRM, Salesforce, HubSpot? What if that opportunity hasn't moved in 30 days? What if different people from that same company or that account have been consuming your content? What if that company gave some huge signals in the marketplace, like they raised a huge round of funding? So now what we have with all these signals is we have an interesting problem. Why? Because where does all this information live? Back in the SaaS days, it probably lived in five different systems. And then the question is, who actually connected it? Well, usually a human, right? An analyst or data miner, whatever you call it. But someone notices something in your CRM, like Salesforce, HubSpot. Someone else sees an engagement in, again, your CRM. Marketing is another signal somewhere else. Maybe sales gets an intent alert from somewhere, or maybe nobody connects all of that. And this is the part I find really fascinating, because companies necessarily today don't have a lack of data problem. That problem has been solved. In many cases, in most cases, we have a tremendous amount of data. And the problem is figuring out what does all these disparate signals mean, and then how can we bring it together and decide what happens next. And that's where I think GTM engineering really starts becoming really, really useful. Why? Because we have actually been moving towards this for a number of years as the tech progressed. So GTM engineering didn't suddenly appear because ChatGPT or Claude or Anthropic showed up, but the foundation of this has been built over 20 years. So we have been moving in this direction for a while now without us knowing it. And marketing ops, for example, connected marketing systems, sales of this the same for the sales organization, obviously. And then RevOps started connecting more of the revenue organization together. Growth teams experimented actually, or experiments across many different functions, and then APIs made application easier to connect. Platforms like Zapier, for example, made automation accessible to everyone who was not a developer, for example. Then you had data warehouses who made it possible to bring even more organizational data together. So each step made those boundaries between these functions a little less rigid and more fluid. And then what happens? AI comes in, bigger models, and it just accelerates everything. And the reason AI changes this so much isn't simply because now we can generate emails faster or summarize a sales call, and those things are useful, right? But they're probably less interesting if they happen in isolation. What happens is, what's really, really interesting is now AI software can increasingly look at all these multiple pieces of context and reason what they actually mean, and then it connects everything together. And when it connects everything together, and the people who make that connection possible are known as GTM engineering. And that's what GTM engineer or GTM engineering actually means. So hope you learned something out of this. And if you really like this video, then you know what to do. But thank you again. This is Bob Tripathi, and glad you liked watching it. See ya. Bye-bye.